Thank you. So let's see. Yeah, I was a bit sorry. I was a bit nervous. So let me try something. Hold on. Where's the? So I was trying to do a talk on this and give me conference introduction speech for my talk. And let's see. Okay. Let's see what ChatGPT is trying to give me for my for me to. Okay, let me try this. Hold on. Wait. Sorry. Let me change a bit prompt and let's see what we will have here. Okay, so well, ladies and gentlemen, enchanters of code and weavers of the World Wide Web, welcome to a journey where the boundary between conceivable and the magical is not just crossed, but obliterated. I'm thrilled to guide you through the enchanting realms of SvelteKit and the magic of progressive enhancements. In our time together, we'll explore the alchemy of SvelteKit, a framework that transforms the complex into compellingly simple, conjuring up web applications that are not only lightning fast, but also bewitchingly smooth to interact with. We'll dive into the arcane art of progressive enhancements, unveiling how these practices can elevate our user experiences from the mundane to the magical, ensuring accessibility and delight under any circumstances. Prepare to be spellbound as we unravel the secrets of creating web experiences so fluid and responsive. This scene conjured from the very essence of magic itself. So let us embark on this captivating expedition together and discover how to weave our own spells in the digital ether with SvelteKit and progressive enhancements. Go! Well, that's weird. Anyway, I guess I'm more comfortable with just hello everyone. Good morning and welcome to my speech. Let me introduce myself. I'm Li Hao. This is my Chinese name. Well, family name comes first, so that's Tan. And you can call me Li Hao as my given name. I'm a front-end developer at Shopee, a leading e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia. I'm based in Singapore. It took me 14 hours of flights to come here. And I'm born and raised in Malaysia in the 19th century. Well, my hometown was part of the British Straits settlements under the British East India Company's control. But fast forward today, here I am speaking on a stage in a place where once navigated by my grandparents, colonizers, talking about the magics and the web. You know, how interesting of that. Well, anyway, don't take this picture as is because it's drawn by Dali. Okay, it got the general shape all right, but all the labels, everything is wrong. So if you're interested about Southeast Asia's histories and cultures, you can always we can always talk about it. Well, I grew up in this lovely town called Bukit Mertajam, and it's a great place with amazing food, traditional cultures. And outside of work, I do a bit of open source. I'm a Svelte maintainer, though I was mostly active during the COVID period. Well, now I mainly talk about Svelte and make contents about Svelte on YouTube. And I recently wrote a book about Svelte. It's called Real World Svelte. And I have a few free copies from the publisher. So if you find me later, I'm more than happy to give it out after the talk. Just come on in. Yeah, you just right at the nice moment, right? So, yes.
We can catch the schedule. No.
For people who are watching live streams, we have more people come in from the keynotes, and we are just right going into it. Huh? but they missed the intro. It's okay. Well. I generate the logos. Most of the logos are also generated from ChatGPT. I got most of my slides prepared from ChatGPT. It's been very helpful for me in preparing this talk. So, for those who just came in, we did some intro, right? So I guess I will just stick at, no. Oh, yeah, I guess I will introduce myself again. I'm Li Hao. I'm a front-end developer at Shopee. Tan is my family name. It's like Chinese name. Family name comes first. Tan is my family name, and you can call me Li Hao. I'm a front-end developer at Shopee, a leading e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia, which is based in Singapore. So it took me 14 hours of flight to get here. And well, this is my town that I grew up in. And outside of work, I do a bit of open source, and I'm a Svelte maintainer. And I was mostly active during the COVID pandemic period, and now I mainly talk about Svelte and making content on YouTube. So, and I recently wrote a book about Svelte. It's called Real World Svelte. I have a few copies from the publisher and some discounts if you order online. You can find me later, and I'm more than happy to give it out to you guys. So, progressive enhancements. What is it? Well, most of the time when I don't understand something, I ask ChatGPT, right? That's what most of us, that's most of what I'm doing right now. Well, it says that progressive enhancements is a web design strategy that focuses on the most fundamental layer of a website that can work on the widest range of devices and browsers, and they add more advanced features and enhancements in layers. This approach allows our website to be accessible to everyone, regardless of their technology's capability. Progressive enhancements often get tied to the idea of HTML first, and its proponents as anti-JavaScript. This perspective might come from advisors like emphasize starting with HTML and to ensure your website functions without JavaScript before adding CSS and JavaScript layers, which is not wrong. And my own take on progressive enhancements is to build your site to work with as few dependencies as possible, and feel free to make it as engaging and interactive as you wish. Why? Well, the less things you depend on, the more likely your site works with the most number of users. You may have users that have devices with only older browsers, so you can't depend on the latest JavaScript syntaxes or even JavaScript. You may have users that cares about security and privacy, who disable JavaScripts to avoid malicious JavaScripts or tracking scripts. You may have users with not so great internet connection, which is me. Whenever I navigate through an underground tunnel on public transport sites heavy on JavaScript, requiring significant data to display content. So I only see a white screen, and I wait for very long to see the actual things, right? It just doesn't load for me. Well, so I screenshot this, which it resonates with me. It says, all your users are non-JavaScript users while they are downloading your JavaScript, right? So if you need JavaScript to see something, and then, so most of them see a blank space. So does it mean we don't or no JavaScript? I would say like the resistance to JavaScript stems from client-side based JavaScript frameworks, where you need to load a ton of JavaScript on your user device. You need to run them in order to see your content. However, most modern frameworks nowadays supports server-side rendering. Many frameworks today allows you to run JavaScript on the server to dynamically generate HTML. right? So you still write JavaScript, it runs on the server now. This means your user can see your content on the first request, which then becomes more enhanced and interactive as you load additional JavaScripts that runs in the browser. Many frameworks or meta frameworks attempts to make it easy for you to develop your web applications this way. So, and today, my focus is on Svelte and SvelteKit and see how it helps with progressive enhancements. When you visit web app, the most common interactions fall into two categories. It's either you browse around, navigate through the content, or you transact and perform specific actions on your application. To navigate around, we create links using the anchor tag, which is one of the most fundamental elements in HTML. Right? I don't think there is any browser that does not support this. So you can specify where this link goes to, and you can use it to navigate across different pages. Right? As an example, you can see here we have a list of images. Each image is wrapped with an anchor tag. So when you click on them, it navigates to an image detail page. To build a web app like this in a SvelteKit project, we create routes using the plus page.svelte components. So as you can see here, we have two of that components in my source routes folder. So we have two routes, two plus page.svelte components. So the first one is for the routes, which is to see the home page, see a list of images, where we have a list of images and wrap them with the anchor tag. And the second is with the image detail page, where you can see the image descriptions and navigate between them. So to navigate between them, right, we are using this anchor tag. In SvelteKit, you don't need any special link components. You just need this, the anchor tag. So what's so special about this, right? Well, in this talk, I'm going to share how SvelteKit progressively enhance your routing experience. How does it make this anchor tag special, or how is it useful, and how is it progressively enhanced? So there are three features they're going to talk about what SvelteKit provides. First of all, when you this anchor tag, it's no longer just like how you have it in your normal HTML applications, where you click and then the browser navigates to a new page where it loads everything all at once. When SvelteKit is being loaded in your application, what happens is that now it will do some magic behind, and it will transform your anchor tag to do soft navigation, which means you will still feel the same as navigating around. There's no difference. What your user will see is the same, but like your URL changes, you have a new history, you see the page updates, but the only difference is that the only parts that will change, that needed to be changed, will change. Right? So if you have layouts with navigation bar, you have a sidebar, those things will stay there. All the states will be preserved because with SvelteKit, we are not throwing everything away and recreating them again as you navigate to a new page. Only the content that is loaded will change. Only the new code for the section that the new page is needed will be loaded, and data or common code that needs that's common between both pages will not be fetched again. Secondly, SvelteKit provides navigation hooks, allows you to enhance your user experience as you navigate between the pages. Right? For example, you can create like a progress bar that you see on top of the page. That can be done easily with the before navigation and after navigation hooks. Here, we can use it to change the value of the show progress states, which is used to conditionally show or hide the progress bar. Right? You can do a lot of things besides that. Well, thirdly, SvelteKit also provides shallow routing. So what is shallow routing? See, in this example, as you click on the image, it is, instead of going to a new page, we actually stays on the same page. But the destination page, the page that you're going to, opens up within a pop-up. Right? Sometimes you want to achieve this user experience because you want the user to feel that it stays on the same page. But actually, you are navigating to somewhere else. So what we can do is we can rely on this feature called shallow routing, which is instead of letting SvelteKit to handle the default routing behavior, with shallow routing, you can take back the control and decides how to navigate around, right? So you use this API called the push states, which I'm going to show you how it's done in the code. Firstly, you need to modify the default behavior of the anchor tag. You add an on-click listener. So when you click on the link, this is where it's being handled. And you call the events.prevent defaults to prevent the default behavior of the link. So with this now, when you click on the link, nothing will happen because you have prevented the default behavior. And then you call push states to update the URL and add a new entry to the history stack. So at this point, the URL and history has changed, but the page content has not changed because you have prevented the default behavior of SvelteKit. To differentiate between new history entry with a normal click and actual navigation, and the differentiate between what it was previously and right now with shallow routing, we can add more data to our history states. Right? So now when you navigate to a new URL, you can actually add states to it, like so. Right? And this states is also part of the page store that provides from SvelteKit, which you can subscribe to, and you can use it to dynamically show content based on the page store. So here I have the modal elements wrapping around an image. So the modal here is showing only when there is image in the history states, and this is how we dynamically show the modal with the selected image when we click on the link. So since a route plus page.svelte is a component as well, it's just like any other ordinary Svelte component. You can import it, right? So this is the components that we use to render the destination page, and you can use it in your code as well, like this. But since the page component usually have data that comes from the load function from SvelteKit, to get the return value of the load function, you can use the preload data to get more data from SvelteKit and use it to pass it to your states. Right? So SvelteKit will handle this for you, whether the load function should be run on the client side or run on the server, or whether it should be run on both server or client. SvelteKit will figure that out and will get you the data you need from the load function and pass it to this. So you pass this data to history states, and you can pass it to the image detail page component. And so with those code changes, there you have it. The best thing about doing it this way is that when you refresh or share this URL, it's not just a modal with a local state. It's actually navigating a new page. So this URL you can share to anyone. It can go directly to how it should be when you without JavaScript or with the page that they should be opening. Right? So opening a modal from the home page when clicking the link is like an enhanced viewing experience rather than going directly to navigate to that page. So in summary, we've seen 3 different features SvelteKit provides to progressively enhance your routing experience. We have soft navigation, navigation hooks, shallow routing. There's much more, but we just covered 3 today. So the next common interactions on a web app is to transact and perform actions, like making a purchase, switching languages, submitting a comment, hitting a like button. And all these actions relies on one fundamental element on the web, which is the form elements. Right? The form elements goes way back. It's the default elements for submitting data and performing actions before we even have asynchronous JavaScript and XML HTTP requests. So instead of calling APIs using the fetch functions like this, you can change it to a form element, and it behaves the same as well. Right? And in both cases, when you hit the buttons, it will send a post request to like post with a HTTP post request with like the ID equals to 123 as the form data. Except that the previous example, which is this one, you can't really make fetch calls. Sorry, whoa, what did I just do? Okay, sorry. So except that the previous example where you make the fetch calls, you will actually make asynchronous network requests, but you stay on the same page, right? So when the response returns, you need additional code to handle that. You need to figure it out how to handle. You need JavaScript to figure out how to handle the response, and you also need JavaScript to figure out how to update the page content so it stays in sync with the data you just updated. But in this example, with the form elements, once you hit the button, right, once you hit submit, the browser will actually navigate to this like post page with post requests. It's all done by the browser, and it's up to you what contents to return on that page, right? If you want to stay on the same page, when you go there on your server, it can redirect it back to after you process the data, it can redirect back to this current page. And as you load this current page, in the server, when you render this page, you can fetch data from the updated data, and you can, you can load the page with the updated content, and all of this is done by JavaScript on the server. You don't need to handle it on the browser through JavaScript. See, in this example, as I click on the like button, the browser navigates to this page with post requests, and it redirects back to the home page. And as we load that page with the updated content, you can see the like button is updated and the count is increased. And all these interactions is done between the browser and your SvelteKit server based on only the HTML it receives. So think about it, you get all of this for free with just HTML. Right? With JavaScript, without JavaScript, on the browser, it still works. So if you have a form element that performs actions and submitting data, then the user can immediately perform the action with the HTML loaded. You don't have to wait for all your JavaScript to be fully loaded. You can already perform actions. And literally, if you think hard enough, anything can be a form. Right? Like this one, a model to post a tweet can be a form. Or this one, choosing between a Kindle paperback and buy now with one click, this can be a form. Or this one, like a search bar. I mean, this can be a form as well. So like this one, like a Wordle game where you see a keyboard of buttons, this can be a form. You know, you can submit different values to the form, to the same form, where the button carries the key and carries the value of what the button is showing. Right? So you can just have many forms and it will work. So you think about the UIs you've been creating, those that perform actions and submit data. Are you able to turn them into a form? Well, in a form, if you don't specify actions, So let's talk about forms and SvelteKit, right? What are the things that SvelteKit provides for a form? Because all you see just now are the basic things about forms that has existed way before SvelteKit. It's the default way of submitting data. And I'm going to cover a few more basic grounds about how you use a form, right? In forms, if you don't specify actions, it submits to the current page, right? Meaning, based on the form methods, the page will, in this example, the page reloads with a post request, right? So, so this is more common for most interactions when you submit, you want to stay on the same page when you submit a form. And eventually, if you want to redirect back to the same page, submitting the form to the same path saves you from creating another API path, which you will eventually redirect back. Well, so this is SvelteKit. Of course, it provides a simple way of handling form posts on the server side. It's called a form actions. After the form is processed, the load function of the page is called to get the latest data to load the page. So you can have this actions that process this form data, and then you load, which runs on the server side, and then you can load the page with the updated data. So sometimes you have more than one forms on the same page. How do you differentiate between them? Well, this is SvelteKit. Of course, it has features that allows you to submit the different forms to the same URL path. You can see the form actions submitting to the same current path, but we use these weird query parameters that starts with a slash and follow with a name. And so these are called the named actions. Well, this is SvelteKit. Of course, you can have as many named actions as you want. Just remember that the default is reserved for the default form actions. If you want to have more, then you have all the different form named actions. Well, this is just a normal form elements following web standards. Of course, it supports like custom form action attributes in the submit buttons. This way, you can submit to a different named actions within the same form. Right? So you can have a form with 2 buttons, upvotes and downvotes, but they submit to a different form actions, to a different named actions. Form works natively as it is. It works, but we are JavaScript developers. Of course, we're going to enhance this user experience with JavaScript. So now with forms, every time you perform actions, it refreshes the whole page. Well, that's not great, right? So this is SvelteKit. Of course, it's going to make it easy to enhance the form. Just add this enhance action onto the form elements, and you're done. Well, this is SvelteKit. Of course, it's that easy. So what does this enhance action do? Well, it does what you expect. It updates the form property. It updates the form. It updates the page store accordingly. It resets the form. It resets the focus. It invalidates all the data. So the load function will call again. It forms. If your forms redirects, it goes to the next destination. If your forms got error, it render the nearest error boundary. It does all this to make sure that basically with or without adding this enhance, you get the same form submission behavior. Right? Except that now you don't get a full page reload. Only the page content that needs update will update accordingly. Now the user experience is the same as calling fetch, but now as a developer, you don't need to worry about state management. You don't need to handle how to handle the updates of the data or the states. All that's taken care for you. So that's it. Forms is that straightforward. And once you see every interactions as forms, you can turn all of them into a form. So in summary, we've seen how you can enhance the browsing experience with anchor tags and navigation hooks and shallow routings. And with forms, we've seen how you can use forms to perform any transactions. And with enhance, you can submit a form without a full page reload. So that's it. Thank you. This is where you can find me online. On the left is my website, and on the right is a QR code for discounts for my books. Right? So instead of manually typing these URLs in the browser, you can send this QR code, which is a more progressively enhanced experience. So thank you, everyone.